Welcome to the Firekeepers Circle. My name is Marcella MacArthur, and we are so excited to have you here with us. You can join us live at onefeatherjournal.com, and you can chat with us live and view us. So tonight we have the amazing Master Onefeather. How are you, Master Onefeather?
Well, I am doing good, getting over a little round of sniffles and sneezing, but other than that, life is really quite wonderful here in the middle part of the country. We've got spring popping up all over the place.
Oh, I'm so excited that it is spring. You have no idea. I'm so excited that I was able to finally wear my shorts.
Well, it's looking like it's going to be, a nice upswing now. I went down to Tennessee with the kids last week, and on Tuesday, when we went down, we had very bizarre weather conditions. We had blizzard, and whiteout conditions, and then it would break, and then you just have a little bit of rain or snow flurries, and then the sun would break through, and you'd have, half an hour of sunlight, and then all of a sudden back into the blizzard part. And we got into the final, 100 miles of the trip there, and Eric had taken a little bit of a sidetrack off the freeway, off the interstate, and we were going to stop and get photographs, but it turned out to not be a place where you could take photographs. But, then we rolled right back down on the freeway, and interestingly enough, we got a mile and a half down the road and discovered that there had been a huge pileup involving trucks and cars and all kinds of craziness. And if Eric had not responded to that urge, pull over, let's take a photograph, we would have been right in the middle of it. So it's very interesting how spirit, if you listen to those urges, spirit is always working on your behalf. And I felt like that was really a very good example of how we can optimize our experience here on the planet by learning how to respond to that little nudge every once in a while that comes up in the back of your mind. Oh, this would be the right place to take a photograph. And, then we get up to the spot, and it's like, oh, that doesn't make any sense. You can't take a photograph here. But then, 5 minutes later down the road, you realize, oh, whoa, thank God we pulled off there for a few seconds. So it is an affirmation, and I think life is filled with affirmations. I think we really, the more we are pliant and listen to the suggestions that are coming to us from higher consciousness, the better our lives will be.
Oh, I love that. I love that. That's so wonderful that he pulled aside.
Yes, because we didn't need to be in one of those rumbles with semi trucks. They're rather demanding in their own right. We want the road. Get the hell out of our way. So, anyway, how has your week been?
Oh, it's actually been fabulous. Here in Texas, our state flower is the bluebonnet. It's actually a weed, but it comes out at springtime every year, and the bluebonnets are all along the highway, and so they're beautiful. And the Indian paintbrush, it's just a gorgeous time. And so Texans everywhere are taking Easter photographs with their children along the side of the road, which is not safe. So,
Yeah.
I found a beautiful patch of bluebonnets that's off the road and a safe place to park. And I went and took photographs of them, and then I'm going to get Olivia's Easter dress, and we will be taking our photographs with our beautiful Texas flower, the weed, the bluebonnet.
Yeah, I remember I went through there in May, I think it was, a few years back, and the bluebonnets were just going, to hyperdrive. And the hills around Austin and San Antonio, that area, those rolling hills and the oak trees and the bluebonnets, it really is a beautiful, beautiful sight to experience. So I'm very familiar with your bluebonnets.
Oh, they're so gorgeous. We had a governor named Ann Richards that planted extra bluebonnets along the highways, which is also
Ah,
good because when you're driving, you go into a little bit, you're not paying attention, but when you have something different to look at, it keeps you paying a little bit better attention. So I'm very grateful for her to have planted all of those.
yes, she was the last sane governor in the state of Texas, but we're hoping that Texas reclaims its sanity at some point here in the future. So,
We can
apart
always have
from,
hope.
yes, well, apart from blizzards and bluebonnets, it is an interesting um, cycle into this new moon and this Aries energy. You know, we had our new moon today in Aries, and it in fact was pretty close to being, you know, exactly conjuncted. Uranus is at 12 degrees Aries, and the Sun-Moon conjunction happened at 10 degrees Aries. So really putting a lot of juice into that configuration, that stellium of three planets there, the Sun, the Moon, and Uranus. And then it's filling out a huge T-square, and our good friends that have been a part of this ongoing T-square energy, Jupiter in Cancer and Pluto in Capricorn, has kind of filled out a situation here that's really causing us to struggle even more deeply than we have been for a while. I think I'm hearing a lot of people talking about how they're really feeling like, you know, they have finally come up to the wall, and the wall now has to be confronted. They have to climb over it or dig through it or somehow make this next step. So these are very interesting times. Have you been noticing people around you responding to this kind of energy over the last couple of days?
Oh, absolutely. I'm just amazed how you said that because I'm digging, but it's been very encouraging to me because it's leading me to my dreams, and so I'm super excited about that part of it. It's been very hard, especially these last 2 weeks for me, getting my affairs in order, but it's all coming together for me, and I am so excited about it, and I'm so excited that we're here on the new moon together.
Yes,
This is
and
part.
this
This is
is
part of the dream.
well, it's a, you know, it's a nice way to kick off spring. I think we're all ready for spring, and you know, we've got a lot of activity going on in Aries right now. That's center of energy there, and we've also got a lot of 12th house activity going on here. We've got Mercury and Neptune, Chiron in Pisces, and within the week here, Venus will be moving into Pisces also. So we're going to be noticing kind of it's like after the storm, where all of a sudden the energy shifts and it's like the sky clears, the clouds go away, beautiful sunlight breaks through, and we've got sunbeams and radiant energy coming down. So I think by the time the week is over, people are going to be feeling like, you know, wow, that was a hell of a tornado, or that was, you know, a serious passage that I just had to struggle through. But it was worth it because where I'm landing at on the other side of uh, all the effort that I had to put into things is going to be a real uplift. I feel like a lot of people are going to be feeling their hearts opening up, and they're arriving at a new level of comfort with themselves.
Absolutely. I think that, well, today I watched, I don't know, do you remember Wonder Woman?
Oh yes, oh yes.
So that has been my theme today, and I've been standing and saying Wonder Woman. So here it comes, and I'm super excited. And I think that all of us have that Wonder Woman, even you men.
Oh, absolutely, yes. And if you fail to integrate that energy, then you're going to have, you know, a lot of travail. So,
You got to do that Wonder Woman stance for 2 minutes. It helps your hormones.
well, and breathe deeply. You know, it gets you grounded in your own little patch of reality here on the planet. So that's always a good thing. Well, I'm going to slip over here to a little passage from A Course in Miracles because I really like balancing out my astrology and tarot readings and stuff with getting people to at least take a look at the course. And this is, I think, a real interesting passage because it really relates very, very nicely to the shift of energy, and as we advance into the week, the opportunities that are going to start coming up for us to open up our heart and make life better for not only ourselves, but for those around us. So this particular text is from the Light of the Holy Relationship in Course in Miracles. And it says, "You will see your value through your brother's eyes, and each one is released as he beholds his Savior in place of the attacker who he thought was there." It's an interesting idea. We always have a tendency to polarize people. And this guy's our attacker, and that guy is our defender. And so we end up failing to recognize in the people who are showing up in our lives as adversarial, as people who are creating challenge for us. We fail to see the gift, the potential gift that exists in that relationship. See, so if you can release your belief that you're under attack and realize that it's just another part of yourself that is, within you that is creating this tension, then you get to the next state. And the next state, it goes through this releasing is the world release. So every time that you can practice forgiveness, every time you can release somebody from the paradigm you've placed in, then the whole world actually has a systemic connection to that. And it goes on to say, "This is your part in bringing peace. For you have asked, what is your function here, and have been answered. Seek not to change it, nor to substitute another goal. This one was given you, and only this." So really, we talk about all these different, my mission here, my mission there, I'm supposed to be doing this. And the Course says, no, all you're supposed to be doing is working on release and forgive and acceptance. And at some point, taking it to the next level and arriving at a place of being able to love your enemies. And that's an interesting thing with Ender's Game. I don't know if you've seen the movie, but in Ender's Game, Ender makes the statement that once you come to understand your enemy, you realize that you love your enemy. So very profound the way all of this kind of twirls around and comes up in a place where we can have a sense of fulfillment, a sense of peace, a sense of joy, and to be able to participate with the world in a way that makes this very accessible for everyone. So to finish up this particular passage, accept this one and serve it willingly. For what the Holy Spirit does with gifts you give to your brother, your forgiveness, to whom he offers them, and where and when is up to him. In other words, go with that inner voice. Allow that inner voice to come up. He will bestow them where they are received and welcomed. He will use every one of them for peace, nor will one little smile or willingness to overlook the tiniest mistake be lost to anyone. Now, how profound is that we are in a position to have such a very deep and personal connection to literally everybody on the planet. We live in this mindset of seeing ourselves separate and polarized. And the Course is giving us a bigger vision. It's like you're part of a bigger consciousness here. And everything you're feeding into that consciousness is going to be what you're manifesting out of that consciousness. So, and I think that's really the lesson of this new moon in Aries. The stress points are Uranus, something unexpected coming up, boom, in your face, and filling out in that Plutonian area in Capricorn. Pluto is very much pulling from the depths of the soul and then manifesting it in the biggest way possible, which is Jupiter and Cancer. So we're seeing how astrology really is giving us the topography of this bigger world around us. And but we don't have to take astrology as a set of what's irreconcilable outcomes. In other words, you can look at this chart for today's new moon and see it as conflict, chaos, upheaval. Oh my God, I'm going to crawl under my bed and hide. Or you can see it as huge opportunity to transcend your own personal fears and your own personal prejudices and move into a higher way of life. So that's my little rant for this evening.
I love it. You are changing consciousness one feather at a time.
Yes, and hopefully we'll get the message out there to a few people every week who will stop and reconsider things. You know, you don't have to respond to what you perceive to be an attack as attacking them back.
And
Sometimes.
That's something that I've totally learned from you. So when I've come to a problem and I think it's somebody else, I stop and check myself, and it's always me.
Well, and it's the ego as opposed to the spirit within you, the true person that dwells there. And one of the things that becomes confusing is that the ego is also supposed to respond to everything. Our little egos get hysterical whenever it encounters anything, and so our egos are always in that attack mode. But the deeper part of us is quiet, sitting there in a place of peace, and is the observer rather than the participant. And that's what makes life so much more rewarding.
Absolutely.
So anyway, I was down in Tennessee for 4 days, and that is a very interesting area of our country. We've got the Appalachian Mountains, and we were in a part of the Appalachians called the Smoky Mountains, and it looks like there's a fire going on somewhere at all times because it is very smoky. And then we went over the hill into North Carolina and checked out a little community called Cherokee there, a reservation, hung out with Cherokee folk. And they're perched on the edge of the Blue Ridge Mountains. And interestingly enough, the Blue Ridge are actually very, very blue, whereas the Smokies have more of a white, grayish energy around them. And I had also noticed, that difference, but had never observed it before. I noticed it intellectually, but I'd never actually been there and observed the difference in the two ranges of the Appalachians in that area. So have you been out and about this week?
I have. I went to we have a dam, I guess. Maybe we call it a lake. But I went out to the lake and just enjoyed some solitude, but also had a meeting with someone from college, somebody that I knew from college. So that was really great to get out. It was so beautiful. Um, and it's just right here too. It's 20 minutes away. I forget how many beautiful things there are around here. And as you're talking about the Smoky Mountains, I cannot believe I haven't been there because I personally have been to 22 national parks, but I haven't been to the Smoky Mountains.
Well, that is the most visited of all of our national parks, which I found interesting. Because I would have thought that it would have been Yosemite or Yellowstone. But according to the park personnel, they were touting the fact that the Great Smoky Mountain Park is the one that gets the largest number of travelers. And when we were there, it was, kind of iffy weather and cold one day and warmer the next, but nonetheless, the place was packed. So,
Oh, it's so fun going to the national parks. My favorite national park is Grand Teton National Park. And
yes.
It's situated in Wyoming. And the reason I think that I liked it the best was because the mountains look the way that I drew them. It's three three triangles, which means three grand tits in French. The Grand
Ah.
Teutons. And that's what you'll learn when you go to the park. But they are so beautiful, and they're actually young mountains.
Yes, they are. The eastern seaboard, all of the mountains are old, 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 and worn down over millions of years. And the Rockies and the Sierra Madre and the Cascade Range, all of those ranges are grow. They're young. And the Grand Tetons, the thing I like about it is that it's got that beautiful Snake River positioned in front of the mountains. And almost anywhere you go in the area, you can get a good photograph of the river and the mountains. And it is a truly magical area.
And now that you bring that up, that they have a lake there called Jenny Lake, and I know that you had a wonderful interview with Jenny Watson today, so that made me think of her. How did your interview go tonight with Miss Jenny Watson?
Oh, it was great. We had a great time. Jenny, I've known Jenny for a while now, and enjoyed watching her evolve and move through some different spaces and really kind of step into herself. I think she really has a clear vision of what her life mission is, if there is in fact such a thing as a life mission. But Jenny was very insightful, and we connected really nicely because she intuitively, well, of course, there's that natural polarity there. She's a Virgo, I'm a Pisces, and so there's all that natural angle going on. But we had a great time with discussion.
Yeah, that's great. And so we'll have that on our Facebook page on the Firekeeper Circle if you want to see the interview with Master Onefeather and Jenny with his confessions.
Yes, and I did make a confession. We were talking about my what appeared to be death and resurrection, which was an interesting era in my life last year. But we're really not doing a lot of discussion on that. We were looking more into our tribal ancestry and recognizing that you have a heritage that goes beyond this very ephemeral society that we currently have. And when I was down in Cherokee country, down in North Carolina, the town of Cherokee, I went to the Cherokee Museum, and I was puttering around there, and I picked up this rattle that I really was smitten with, and my kids snuck around behind my back and bought it for me. And so this is a turtle rattle from Cherokee country, and it was in fact created by a Cherokee fellow who, what was his name? Joseph something or other. Anyway, it really is a beautiful rattle, and it really has a nice feel to it. And I am Potawatomi, but my clan within the tribe is Turtle Clan. So for me, it's very, very unique. So that was a little bit part of my adventure.
How beautiful.
Yes. Well, now taking another look back here at the way the week is going to unfold. As we're moving into April 1st, April 2nd, we have a little bit of an interesting energetic release, one of those little bubbles of activity, because we're going to have a lineup as the moon first is in trine to Pluto in Capricorn. The moon will be in Taurus, so we'll get that kind of a snug energy there, and then it's going to advance and move further up to oppose Saturn. So I'm going to say that midweek is going to be a very important decision-making period, and you're going to have to address opportunities that show up unexpectedly. Because you get a lot of good angles as this passage continues to build. You've got the moon in Taurus. It's going to trine Pluto in Capricorn. It's also going to sextile Jupiter in Cancer. So a lot of nice balancing out energies in midweek. And within that, we're going to begin to see multiple options show up. And so you're really going to have to work on clarity and a clear sense of what do I wish to achieve. I'm going to have more than one uh, option presented to me. So how do I get my ducks in a row? How do I get everything lined up? So midweek is going to be very good astrologically for people, I do believe.
Oh wow! Just as you say that, I'm gonna have so many options this week. It's so funny that you say that.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Well, and we're moving into profound times now, and we've got activity going on with these heavy planets, Jupiter, Saturn, Pluto, and Neptune is going to be in the spin. You're going to have profound, long, long-term shifts that show up. Now, how well you embrace that and how well you implement it is going to determine how long you're going to be able to ride it. But the reality is that we're at the threshold, I believe, here where a lot of long-term potential is going to be presented to us. And I think that that's going to make midweek very, very exciting, very dynamic, but also a little bit challenging because we're going to be making, going to have potential to make commitments that could last quite a few years into the future.
Oh, I'm so excited actually. I was kind of jumping around today. We had a birthday party to go to, and I was actually dancing with the kids today.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it was fun. Definitely fun to be around the kids.
Yeah, children definitely bring us back to our own state of innocence. I mean, a lot of people refer to it as lost innocence. I don't believe it's lost. I think we just forget about it temporarily. We have a temporary lapse of memory, but when we get around a bunch of kids, it pulls us right back into it. We just relax and go with the activity. Do we have anybody in the chat room tonight at all?
I don't see anybody right now, but we did our spring break, and I think that everybody is probably just getting home and with the hustle and bustle of spring break, which has been fun with the kids and good family time and a little bit of relaxation from
And
normal work
on,
life.
honoring the advent of this period of renewal, spring is all about all the wonderful things that have been dormant for a long time finally coming up again. When I was in Tennessee, we would go by huge, huge patches of daffodils. So there would be literally hundreds of daffodils, and with a blanket of snow on them. It's kind of ironic, but they're one of the first trumpets of spring. We have the daffodils come up, and then down in that region, I was astonished to notice that there are literally thousands and thousands of rhododendrons. They are everywhere. And I'm guessing in another 3 weeks, the rhododendrons are all going to bloom down there. So if you're looking for some place to go and really see the magnificence of spring, check that out because that could be a very cool area to spend a few days and be surrounded by beauty that is just riotous almost.
Mm. Oh, that sounds beautiful. This gives us an opportunity to talk about onefeatherjournal.com. It's an amazing website that you have, and it was designed by Polymedia. And we have had some amazing guests come on. It's been super fun. It's a great place to come and check out the Firekeeper Circle. Um, did you want to tell us a little bit about why you decided to name it the Firekeeper Circle?
Well, the firekeeper in my Native American background, I'm part of the woodland people, and in this region we have the Ojibwe, the Ottawa, Chippewa, Potawatomi, and the firekeepers are Potawatomi, and they are the ones who keep the culture. That was their mission, was to stay true to the course and make sure that the culture survived the onslaught of time and whatever. But also within that, there is a legend of the lighting of the seventh fire. And the seventh fire is, when you figure it out by uh, the placement of, or the transit of Pluto through the wheel, it would be my generation. So my generation was the seventh flyer, and we were the ones who were supposed to begin to feel the stirrings of our tribal ancestors and start to go back and reclaim it, reclaim our languages, reclaim our culture. And that, in fact, did start happening in the 1960s, just as, you know, uh, that broader awakening was starting to happen all around the planet, especially here in the United States and Europe. And it took a war, the Vietnam War, to really contest people and to really, you know, force things forward. Uh, but unfortunately, that's the way that things occur on this planet, or at least they did in the past. We're looking for better ways to do transition, change. But the H flyer is the younger generations who are going to be coming into their own empowerment at, you know, this next uh, cycle of change and transformation. And it does, in fact, appear that we do have a global awakening going on. We have a lot of people between 18 and 30 years of age who are embracing the spiritual path and having profound insights. So it's really quite an amazing time. Pardon me. So yes, the Firekeepers Circle is about all of us getting together and discussing these things, sharing our insights, and we'll definitely be having some great guests coming up here. So you want to check in each week, and then 1 week out of the month, or at least sometimes two, we'll do an astrological, metaphysical illumination, and give you some insight for the coming times, and perhaps give you a little inspiration to advance in your own way and move in directions that you felt being pulled, but you just haven't been courageous enough to take that first step.
I know I have thoroughly enjoyed all our guests and everything. I feel honored to be here and to be able to share time with all the people that have come on. It's just been so exciting for me. It's been pure joy, and what an amazing thing that you come and you donate your time to us to share your love and to help us along. Um, you can come to onefeatherjournal.com and you can set up sessions with Master One Feather. And I wanted to talk about your astrocartography a little bit. Can you tell us what that is?
Okay, well, in the dream world we inhabit by planetary positions at our time of birth, it defines uh, where on the planet optimal places are and where confrontational places are or stressful places are. And so when I look at some of these charts, I'm able to pull up an astrocartograph or an astromap, and we can look at the places that you're going to be most uh, benefited by placing yourself in those environments. And it has been very interesting because I even used it to a certain degree myself when I was doing some relocations and going back and looking at the past. Um, I have a Mars Uranus line that, no, I had a Uranus line that went through El Paso, Texas. And when I was 18, 19 years old, I got drafted and ended up going into the Army, and I got stuck in El Paso, Texas. And that was sudden change, life-altering experience, you know, kaboom. And then when I went to the next level of my military training, I got placed in Fort Story, Virginia. And at that point, I had a Mars-Mercury line conjuncting that region, and that is military. That's all about military activity, military discussion, blah, blah, blah. So looking at it in retrospect, it was really quite fascinating, and that was when I became interested in sharing that with people. So if you're looking for something to kind of validate, you know, whether or not you should move or whether or not you should dig in your heels and stay where you're at, a lot of times the astrocartography can give you some good insights to do.
I just find that so fascinating. It just it's just more and more the more that we learn about astrology and that is fascinating. When I look at the map and I look at my past and where I've been, it's really dynamic. It's
It
amazing.
is. It actually is very fascinating because it, especially in retrospect, it really makes you aware of the influence of certain planetary energies as they impacted the planet at the time you were born. And I don't recommend it for people who are uh, in a position of struggle and looking for an immediate answer, because I think that demands more inner work. But I think if you're comfortable in life, when you feel like, okay, it's time for change, I want to make things better, where should I go? Then I think that you can get a lot of information that's very on point, and it's a good tool for you.
Mm. Well, I love that. And then another way that you can come and support onefeatherjournal.com, we have a donate key. And if you are interested in supporting Master One Feather and onefeather.com, you can come to onefeatherjournal.com and donate. And you have other sessions. You have a tarot card reading, and you also have a book called The Story and a tarot card workbook, which
Yes, the tarot card book seems to be getting a lot of positive feedback from it. So if you are interested in the cards, that's a good book to pick up and give a spin. And I will mention that, as you had said, Marcella, I like showing up and sharing on our program here, but more importantly, I go through growth experiences as a result of doing it. So it's not all one-sided. I'm not becoming, Jesus on the cross here for the sake of the masses. In reality, it's propelling me forward too. And I think I really would encourage anybody who feels that need, that desire to share, to reach out to others, uh, do so because you're going to go through a growth process. And even if you share with people who don't necessarily appreciate you in the moment, it's not about that. It's about you. Where are you at? How much more can you love yourself? How much more can you forgive yourself? How much more can you get to know yourself in actual fact? Because most of us are engaged in a mad rush through space and time, and we really don't spend time in an intimate way with ourselves. And so, this is a format that causes me to look within myself, and I go back and listen to them, and it's like, wow, did I say that? I must have been in that state of flow because I needed to hear that. So yeah, it's whatever we're doing for the collective, it's benefiting all of us within.
yes, and I'm so grateful. I feel that way too. And one time I did a little experiment, and I thought, how could I ever make a difference? And as I was at the airport and nobody was smiling, and I thought, I'm just going to look somebody in the eye and I'm going to smile. And every person that I looked in the eye and smiled at, they smiled back. So it can just be something small like that.
Oh, absolutely, and then that can become contagious. Maybe when they got off the plane on the other end of their flight, they encountered people who were having a difficult day, and they were smiling, and it just, it's that 6 degrees of separation. We really aren't as polarized as we often imagine ourselves to be. So let's take a look for this coming week with tarot deck also. And the weekend, a new moon, it shows an interesting card. I like this card in this position. It shows a 10 of rods. And you can see this guy is struggling with a big, big load. And this new moon, because of that T-square that's forming with the heavy planets, is saying time to put your burden down. You can get rid of a lot of the crap that you're carrying around with you that you don't need to be holding on to. You can move into a space in your life and in your mind and heart where you're no longer feeling that challenge and that stress. As we move into the coming week, we have good old Justice card. And, this is a card of balancing things out. we've got Mars currently in the house of the scale. We've got Mars in Libra. And Mars really likes to have, um, it likes to be unfettered. It doesn't like to have limitations or restrictions. And when it is in retrograde, which it is in fact right now, it's causing that Martian energy to come back into balance. It's forcing it to become more even-tempered, more temperate. So don't be surprised if you feel like you're struggling a little bit at the beginning of the week with staying in balance and in harmony with yourself. By midweek, though, we have the King of Swords, the power of the mind, and that was what I was talking about before with eliminating the things you don't want and committing wholeheartedly to the things you do want. You know, it's no hot or cold, I mean, no tepid water here. It's going to be either hot or cold. You've got to be in it 100% or let go of it and move on. By the end of the week, we're going to discover that we're getting a lot of messages. The moon is going to be getting very close to Jupiter by this coming weekend, and that's going to open up that portal because it'll be in a nice trine to Neptune. So we've got that Neptunian, Jupiterian, Chiron energy all intermingled. So don't be surprised if you get some big answers by the end of the week and some major insights and some realizations of, gee, this is what I wanted to do all my life. Why haven't I been doing it? So these are powerfully changing times, very transformative times. And I think there's going to be a lot of people who move out of this period with a whole new attitude about what their life consists of. So, you know, again, it's all up to you. I mean, these are forces that are at your disposal. That doesn't mean you're being forced into a position of having to address these issues. But if you decide to withhold, to stand back, and let things fly by you, then you really don't have anything to complain about when it's all done and over, as it were.
Oh, that's so exciting. And it's almost, it's like spring cleaning. You clean all that junk out, your house junk, your mind junk, and you're going to be the queen.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
And going back to the Course, one last little snippet here from the Course in Miracles, because I think this pulls together a lot of ideas that are worthy of contemplation, especially at the end of this coming week. It says, the light that joins you and your brother shines throughout the universe. And because it joins you and him, so it makes you and him one with your Creator. So whenever two people come together and are joined in acceptance and love and are experiencing that unity, guess what? You have invoked, this is an invocation, you have invoked the presence and activity of God in the midst of that moment. So having a good day and being receptive to the people around you and being loving and joyful puts you in an entirely different space in the universe. It's basically, it opens the windows so that the rays of God's consciousness all of a sudden are surrounding and giving you that buoyancy that you're looking for. So, if you haven't picked up a course, if nothing else, just watch my page on Facebook, because Course in Miracles is something I do a lot of posting from, and I think it's a very beneficial tool for these powerful times of human evolution.
Yes, I enjoy them for sure. They are really wonderful. They're very helpful too, and insightful, and positive. All those little things that we need.
Yes, it's food for the spirit. So, besides unlimited potential this coming year, what's up for you now? And for Olivia, I know Olivia is probably going through some big shifts and changes too.
She is. She is a doll. Well, I got some work possibilities coming up, and there's several things coming up which I'm super excited about. Um, things are really starting to come together for me. And like you said, it's like, why haven't I done these before? And I'm really excited and I feel empowered. So that Wonder Woman, uh, what I said earlier, was really true after all this time. And I'm just so grateful that I've been able to have all this time with Olivia. I've been so grateful to be on air here with you. It has been something that I really needed to do. I really needed to work on me, which I hadn't done as a young adult at all. I'd always done it for others. So just, working on me. So as you say, all of that, I've got job interviews this week. And I am super excited about all that's coming. We've got the Firekeepers Circle. We've got some amazing people that are going to be coming on, and it's just a great way to share the love and to support one another. I'm so excited about all of it. I just want to jump up and down, actually.
Yes, and it is going to keep getting better and better and better.
Yeah.
Well, I think we've had a fun discussion this evening and a little bit of an astrological update to people, gave them a taste of the cards. So, did you have anything else specifically you wanted to share tonight?
I think that is all that's going on over here. You guys come on
Well,
down. You guys come on down to onefeatherjournal.com. It is filled with amazing information, and we are live every Sunday, usually at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. Today we did 9 p.m. because Master Onefeather was on another show, but we're always glad to see you, and so come on down and onefeatherjournal.com.
great. Well, you have a fabulous week, Marcella, and I'll talk to you soon.
Okay. Have a great week.
Good night.